had 2 million views for your kid in the string story, where you just pulled 10 feet of yarn. Has anyone reached out to you yet?
Well, I was actually at my friend's bachelorette party. One of the bachelorette people was like, I know you from something. And I was like, oh no, shit. What do you know me from? And they're like, wait a second, I know. Hold on. They pull up the video. They're like, kid and string kid girl. And I was like, oh shit. Yeah, that's me.
People shit all over these 20-year-olds. They don't want to work. It's like they're figuring out what they want to do.
Right.
And you're like, they got no work ethic. It's like, no, they don't want to make you money.
I woke up at 7 a.m. and I poked him. I was like, hey bro, you want to get married today?
Hey, wanna fuck?
Yeah. No. Well, actually that didn't happen either. But anyway, I was too drunk. Sorry, mom and dad.
What's up, friends? And welcome back to another episode of That's Interesting. You're probably wondering, Blake, why do you look so fly right now? Well, that's because my guest not only is making me get up super early for this episode, not only has she pulled 10 feet of yarn out of a 6-year-old's butthole, but she's a very successful public adjusting assistant who works...
Actually, I got promoted.
Oh, shit. Okay, we're going to cover that. And she just works so much that this was the only time I could get her. So please welcome Jordan.
Woo! That's me.
I'm going to have to get in here. What up, dude?
You look real good this morning, my
Do you know
friend.
how warm? What was that?
I've been watching that new show, Jenny. I guess it's not new. Jenny and Georgia. Have you heard of that?
It's new to me.
Netflix. Yeah. Well, the girl has like this real big accent, and Alex and I sit there all night. And we're like, "Hey, y'all,
What's going on?
what's up?"
Really? Yeah. The southern accent seems to be coming back in with all the new shows,
Yeah.
like Ozark.
Yeah. Meh.
Nah, wasn't a
No.
fan of the show.
No, I didn't like it.
Really?
Well, I think it didn't help when I had hip surgery. We were watching it,
Oh.
and so I was out. I mean, I had so many drugs pumping through my system.
Oh, then you should have liked it. You would have resonated with it.
No.
No.
I kept falling asleep, so that
We
didn't
can't be
help.
friends then. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That
Alex
sucks.
loved it though.
Really? So what was it? What was about Ozark you didn't like?
I actually don't remember. Like, I just
remember the
remember
feeling.
vividly not liking it and being like, this is not my thing. We tried to watch Breaking Bad too, not my thing. Yeah, I guess I'm just not into that drug running stuff.
Yeah. Fair enough. I am.
I
don't even do drugs.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Me either, but
So you had we've had 2 million views for your kid in the string story, where you just pulled 10 feet of yarn, as you guys call it. We just call it string. But, has anyone reached out to you yet to feel like,
yeah.
I am that boy?
Well, no.
And I
that
have a
kid
lawsuit
has not
right now.
reached out to me yet, thank God. Actually, it's funny. The people that I used to work with in Washington at the preschool, they saw the video without me sending it, nothing. It must have just naturally came up organically. And they messaged me. They're like, oh my God, I remember that day so vividly. And I was like, how could you forget it? And they're like, I can't believe you did that. And I'm like, yeah, I did. And then there's been other people. I was actually at my friend's bachelorette party before hurricane, so I don't know, early
like 3
September.
months, yeah.
It's all blurred now.
Eh.
And they were like, wait, one of the bachelorette people was like, wait a second, I know you from something. And I was like, oh no, shit, what do you know me from? And they're like, wait a second, I know. Hold on. They pull up the video. They're like, kid and string kid girl. And I was like, oh shit, yeah, that's me. And they're like, wow. That's an experience. No one really knows what to say about it. My parents are very proud.
They're very proud?
Yeah.
They're like, you saved that boy.
Well, they're like, wow, you shared that with people.
And then they realize once you do that, no one, your life doesn't change.
No.
Everyone's like, how could you say that on the internet? It's like, dude.
I say a lot of things, not on the internet, but just a lot of
I
things.
say
in
most
general.
things on the internet.
Oh, I know, Blake. You be starting some quarrels, and I love it.
Yeah, it's not hard though.
No.
All I have to do, like right now, I can guarantee whatever clip comes out from this episode, people are going to comment on my outfit and just be like, like, okay, cool. Wow, you win the argument, guys.
Well, I think what my favorite part of that video was is if you click on the comments, there were people that were like legitimately going back and forth if it's possible. One guy was like, I'm a doctor and it's possible. We've seen it. And I'm like, wow, cool, bro. You're a doctor. Like, congratulations. Other people are like, it's not possible.
Yeah.
I'm like, actually, fuckers, it is.
Yeah.
I did it.
Mm-hmm.
I was there.
And that's the best part about the comment section. You just realize how many people have opinions that don't deserve opinions.
I don't know. I think everyone deserves an opinion. I just think that sometimes people should reserve them.
They don't need to voice their opinion.
Yeah.
You're just listening to it. Like, I mean, all of them right now, it's, every time I get, my favorite one right now is because I'm going after boomers who shit all over our generation.
Yep.
It is so funny watching boomers get butthurt when someone says, no, you're wrong. Our generation has good people, lazy people, and whatever. And so does your generation. Comments. It's like, aren't you the generation that says we are too sensitive? Yeah, you're the generation that goes, no, we're not the same as you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like every generation has their people that are great and the people that suck, and it really isn't generational.
No.
You can't like categorize it by generation. It's just you suck or you're good. Like there's no in between, and you could be 60 years old and suck, or you could be like 12 years old and suck. Like, sorry, like you're not developed yet, but you could be 12 and suck.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter whether you're a boomer, Gen Z, Gen X, millennial. Like there's people that suck.
Yeah.
General.
And there's people that are great. But so my thing is, I think now it's like they look at physical activity like, oh, my grandfather worked so hard, because you can see physical, but you can't see mental.
Right.
And like most of the shit we do now, like most people think that I just make a video and then it's up. Like it's so easy to do. And like the comments again, like, you make a living from making videos. It's so easy. I'm like, is it so easy? And I make money. Why aren't you doing it?
Exactly.
You know, because there's hours behind this to do it, but you can't see what's going on in here. Like, you know, someone makes a great strategic decision and it's like, he didn't deserve that. It's like, again, there's so much happening in here. And I think that's what this generation does more of. And, you know, I mean, during the hurricane, when we got hit, there was something so nice about not having to think.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
like
I didn't have that luxury, but
yes. When I had to go in and get my house fit, like, you know, sorted out, and it was like an hour and a half of walking across sand to do 6 hours of manual labor on my house to do an hour and a half across on sand again. Everyone hears that and they go, oh, that's so terrible. I was like, it was so easy compared to a day-to-day where it's like your brain's going. Because it was just, I was zoned out and it was just one decision. All right, go do it. Another decision. All right, go do it. And I was like, oh, this is fantastic. Now, I would rather that not be the case.
Right.
You know, with all the devastation.
Well, you and I had very different post-hurricane experiences. I mean, to say the least. You were out here kind of, I imagine you like Jesus, like with the head wrap on, and you're like walking across the sand and you're sweating.
No, Orville had a stick.
You're sweating and you're like, oh, and just trying to make it there. And like, meanwhile, I'm sitting here being like a keyboard warrior all day. I'm like, oh my God, I want to die. This is awesome. No. And then meanwhile, I'm getting calls, like very sporadic calls from you. Like, I can barely hear you. You're like, day 14. I walked across the Sahara.
I remember this when it was fun. I recorded that video, by the way, when I was on the phone. It's going to make it in one of the vlogs.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because it's me just going, all right, the fun's wearing out, you know? And for me, again, it wasn't yes, the physicality got exhausting. But again, it's like the difference is when someone sees you do 8-9 hour physical work, like labor, 3 days in a row, and you go, I'm tired, they go, well, that makes sense. You've been working hard.
Right.
But, you know, your brain uses so much energy. And like they say, if you're dehydrated, your attention drops 5%.
Makes sense.
If you're malnourished in like sugars and carbohydrates, your brain function drops real quick. Yet, we don't give it any credit when someone's like mentally thinking for 7 hours. They're like, he just sat down the whole day. And it's just like, dude, again, I would take 7 hours of physical activity over that. Alex
and I used to get into that debate a lot because we'd both come home from work back when he was still active duty, and he'd be like, oh man, I'm so tired. And I'd be like, God, me too. And he'd look at me and be like, what did you do all day? I worked. And he was like, you sat at your computer? And I was like, yeah. But the mental power, you're absolutely right, that goes into even just sitting there and typing and answering emails. Sometimes you're like, goodness gracious. But kind of going back to, you know, why boomers and us, like all that, they were like out there in steel workers and trains and whatever. Maybe trains a little far. Sorry, boomers. Sorry, parents.
Some of them.
Well, no, but they were working such physical jobs that you're right. It was so easy to like say, hey, they're working hard every day out in the fields or in factories or whatever. They are harder workers than us, for example, who are sitting here, recording videos or typing or helping out in like a more administrative role. But at the same time, you also look at it and you're like, wait a second. I know that there's so much going on in my head on a daily basis that someone the other day asked me, what are my main job responsibilities? And I was like, I have no idea. Like that question was so difficult for me because every day my main job responsibilities change.
Yeah.
And they're constantly moving and like they adapt off of each other. So like, and I would think we were having this conversation the other day where I wake up in the morning and I think my day is going to look one way. And that is the biggest kick in the nuts every day because I pre-plan my day. I'm like, yeah, this is great. And it never goes that way. And at the end of the day, I sit down and I'm like, shit, how did we get here?
I got in trouble from Stacy, my wife, yet again yesterday. Because she, I got home. I'm like, look, I'll be home at 5:45. And she's like, yay. I'm like, then I have meetings. And those meetings went from 6 till 8. So, I get out. I'm happy because it's been productive.
Right.
And, she's pissed. And I'm just, straight away, that's a bad way to start. Like, hey, I've just finished work. I'm in a good mood. And I'd like to share some time with you now. And I get welcomed with, I'm over this. And I'm like, well, do you want to live in your parents' house anymore?
Right.
And it was just this whole snowball field. She's like, you said you'd be doing this. And I'm just like, dude, how many things change day to day? And I'm like, I can't just be like, it's cool, I'll start tomorrow.
Right.
Because then,
well,
it topples down.
We get into that debate often, very, very often. However, I'd say we have an opposite issue where I get home and I'm done. I'm done with the day.
By the way, if any nipple slips, please let me know.
I'll let you know. Don't worry. I got you.
Nip patrol.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm not gonna lie, it's so comfortable.
I wish you had told me. I would have worn mine, but I would have to wear a shirt under mine. Anyway.
Yeah. That I'd be like, I already saw up your skirt the other day.
Oh my god, that was so mortifying. Actually, not really. I really don't care. But.
No. I mean, look, it was all right. I only saw thigh.
Well, I think
I
had shorts on that day.
I don't know. I didn't look far enough, to be honest.
I try to wear shorts under my dress because I am not a graceful person.
Yeah, your movements when you did that were not graceful.
I've never actually. It's funny. I used to be a figure skater. Believe it or not. Like a legitimate figure skater. But then on the real world, on the ground, I am not. And my parents always made fun of me. They're like, you are the most ungraceful person, but you put on a pair of skates, she's got some grace.
Maybe you could just get around in like rollerblades?
No. Different.
No? Different?
Oh.
Okay.
I am not
for anyone who has no idea what we're talking about right now.
Sorry.
We're at dinner the other night and, Alex, Jordan's to-be husband,
we were playing with you. That's another side story.
I know. We need to find out. I was like, what the fuck? Did they not invite me to the wedding? And then Hannah's like,
Total side story. Please.
We'll come back.
We'll come back
We'll
to
put
that.
a pin in that. Shit. Yeah. So Alex, Jordan's husband / I'm finding out more later in this episode.
Husband.
Yeah. Did I say what did I say? Did I say husband?
He is husband.
Okay.
He's not my wife.
I mean, it's 2023. You can be whatever you want. Oh. Side story for later.
Okay, side story.
So you were sitting at one side and you wanted to just change, but the problem is Jordan was like cornered in between me and Sienna, my daughter, and then Alex, and she wanted to change so she could sit next to Hannah. So, you tried to climb over his lap, and as I get that, I just get a woo, and I'm like, I wasn't looking, and it's like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's hard.
It just happens.
Yeah.
It's like when a girl, like, when, if her boobs are hanging out, you're just like, look at her. Like, you look like a psychopath because you're like, look at her eyes.
It's like a train wreck. You can't look away from the train wreck. Someone's skirt slips, someone falls. You're like,
but it was just funny because I was just like, Jesus.
I know. Well, it's funny too because I wasn't sure who I flashed in the whole scenario because there was a table to the right of us at the time who three of them made direct eye contact with me as I was making that move. And then yet you're like, oh my God. So I'm like, okay, at least I flashed my friend.
All the tables around us, they were kind of like Karens. Which
Yeah,
again,
oh God.
Okay, if you say that this generation is entitled and easily butthurt, why does the boomer generation have a category called Karen?
Karen. I know a Karen though. I know a few Karens.
Oh, every Karen I know is lovely.
So nice, and it doesn't
And
make
they're not
sense.
Karens, yeah.
No, I love
feel
my
bad
Karen.
about that.
Yeah, it's not very fair to them.
So let's talk about the easy challenge. You guys probably are not aware, but I used to be a personal trainer back in Australia for about 8 years. After seeing so many clients stop training with me or stop those habits, they would just fall straight back into the things that made them gain weight almost instantly again. And so after a bunch of years, I realized it hurt me a lot more than I think it hurt them, because I just saw so much hard work go to waste. And so a couple of years into it, I started figuring out this new method that I call the 1-2 compound method. And so with that, it's about habit stacking, creating habits that will help you for years and years to come. And the best thing is it's so easy. So we've already had people lose up to 20 pounds in their first month by using the 1-2 compound method. The best part is they don't even realize that anything is happening, because it doesn't have to be this hard work. It doesn't have to be all of a sudden your life is flipping itself over, upside down, and you have to focus on 20 different things. Instead, you're gonna have a one-on-one coach who will guide you every single step of the way so that you don't have to think. All you gotta do is just do the next thing, tick that off for 30 days, and the next thing. And after time, what you will notice is the weight will just start coming off. Now, this is not just for people who are trying to lose weight, also people trying to tone or just change some habits so that they don't ever feel like they're being miserable through a diet. Because let's face it, diets do not work. So to find out more about the easy challenge and the 1-2 compound method, all you've got to do is head to my Instagram at Aussie Blake Doyle. Now that is OZ, or you guys call it Z, don't you? You call it Z? All right. OZ Blake Doyle. And then slide in my DMs and just write easy. Now let's get back to the show. So side story.
My side story or your side story?
Go yours first, mine second.
Gotcha. So yeah, I got married in 2020. March of 2020, start of the pandemic. And I wasn't planning on getting married then, if that makes sense. So I left college because it shut down, ran up to North Carolina where my husband was stationed. And we were worried about the world like shutting down, burning, I don't know. And I remember I woke up at 7 a.m. and I poked him. I was like, hey, bro, you want to get married today?
Oh, thank you. Hey, want to fuck?
Yeah. No. Well, actually, that didn't happen either. But anyway, I was too drunk. Sorry, mom and dad. So I'm like, hey, bro, you want to get married today? And he flips over and he like looks, like when he wakes up, he looks like a frog. I don't know how to explain it. He's like, what? And I was like, you want to get married today? And he's like, married? I said, yeah. Anyway, so it's March 2020. We get married. Yay. All my friends are super bummed, obviously. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell,
Oh, you eloped?
Yeah, we ran off to the courthouse. We were actually the last people to get married before all the courthouse, everything shut down for 4 months in North Carolina. 5:30, last appointment of like the pandemic. Like I think
before shit closed down.
Yeah, actually, I think it was almost, they didn't reopen till almost the following year, like January. Yeah, so we were the last people. We ran in there. It was pretty funny, actually. They held thermometers to our heads like guns. We actually had to slide all of our documentation.
By the way, those never worked.
That ain't my business, bro. I had a fever that day. That's part of the reason why we got married.
Yeah, well, no, they didn't work, because I remember once I walked in from like Sydney. We're going to this place and it's windy, and so I get in and she's like, boom, and it says 33 degrees Celsius, and she was like, okay, cool, you're good. And I'm like, hold on. 37.1 is like what you normally are.
Right.
33 degrees, I'm dead.
33 times 2 at 32. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like literally you would be close to being dead.
You would be hypothermic.
Yeah. No, hypothermia is 36 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
So like 33 degrees
you'd
Celsius,
be really hypothermia.
You're dead.
Yeah, you'd be dead.
But that was the thing when I was like, hold on. This only tastes like skin temperature, but if you've come from a certain, like I could come out of the sauna and they'd be like, COVID.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that thing didn't work, guys. Another thing that didn't work.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'll leave that shit. That's not my business. All I know is they were like, bam, no fever. You can get married today. And we were like, oh, okay, cool. We walk in and I was a little nervous because I the day before I'd had like a slight fever, but I think it was just there's a lot of moving things and like my body's very sensitive. So I get fevers when I'm like stressed out, this or that. People might say I'm wrong. Doctors, come at me. I dare you. But that's just how I've always been. So yeah, we're like sliding our IDs under the door. Very weird. We actually didn't even...
Like a secret thing?
No, like they wouldn't come face to face with us to take our documentation because this is like ground one COVID. People were falling over and dying type of thing. Like no one knew what was going on. Allegedly. I'm staying out of that one too. I'm not touching it, Blake.
I'm in the middle right now.
You stay over there.
I'm being in the middle. Saying allegedly means I'm in the middle.
Allegedly, people were falling over and dying. People were very concerned, all right?
I was too.
I mean, yeah, we were all a little bit concerned, but I mean, it was...
That was the time when I told Stacey, I'm like, look, if shit hits the fan, I will kill someone if we have to. And she was like, good to know. Thanks. Enjoy your steak.
Yeah, I mean, we had a very similar conversation actually, but different. Further down the road when we got into the George Floyd protests, our town was hit. Actually, where we ended up getting married got burnt down in all the protests. Yeah, not the courthouse itself, but there was this bell tower, which if you go back and look at any of my wedding pictures, you can see it.
Well, I didn't know you were married.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, so that's going... Sorry, we got very distracted here. Long story short, my friends were bummed because we didn't really get to celebrate. We didn't get to do anything.
Yeah.
And I've just been like living as a married woman. I was doing fine. I didn't really care. Alex and I planned on doing a vow renewal in 5 years anyway. 3 years from now. Anyway. So my girlfriends were like, hey, I guess they planned like a surprise bridal shower for me. Had no idea. Flew my mother-in-law in. They got my mom to come down, which is, love my mom to death, not a party person. Like, she's not. So like that was a huge surprise. My sister, they got all my friends there. I walk in and is like, bride to be on the wall. And I was like, I remember I looked at everyone and I'm like, who's getting married? And they're like, oh, this is like your makeup bridal shower. And I was like, oh shit, this is pretty cool. Yeah. So anyway, long story short, I am married.
Okay.
For 3 years.
All right, so I'm not a shit friend. And you're not a shit friend for not inviting me.
No,
So
I didn't even
good.
know.
We're square.
Yeah, we are
All right.
ready, sketty, spaghetti.
Yeah, okay.
We're good. Sorry.
Because I legit was just like so confused.
I think Hannah told me she was screwing with you a little bit.
Hannah, you did a great job. You did a fantastic job because I 100% believed it.
Well, I think a lot of people were actually pretty confused. Like it wasn't just you.
Yeah.
But it was great. Like I've got
I was
the greatest
confused. I was like,
friends.
why didn't she mention this last night at the dinner?
Because I had no idea.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, there was a little bit of me just being like, I thought we were friends.
Well, it's funny too because I was more sus because they kept asking me, they're like, you didn't know? And I was like, no. Well, one, we've been so busy with work that you could like throw something in front of me, leave an invite on the table, and I probably would not know. Like that is how spacey I've been lately. But I told Hannah, she was like, how did you not know? And I was like, dude, I was more sus about the dinner. But the night before, like I didn't know what was going on. Like, are we just meeting like to be friends? Like, are we just that cool? Because everyone's been so busy. Or like, is there an announcement? What's going on? I was more sus at the dinner than I was the next day.
That's funny. Because that dinner was pure by accident. Like Stacey was like, hey, do you want to go do dinner? And just invite some people. I was like, say less.
You're like, I'm on it.
All of a sudden, 7, 8, 9 people turn up. She's like, huh? And I was like, you said invite people.
We showed up.
I was just impressed that many people turned up last minute.
Oh, I know. And Blake Day getting there, that's awesome. I mean, he's been so crazy busy during this whole post-hurricane thing that I was actually happy to see him out socializing.
Yeah, because you guys have been nuts. Working, 12, 14 nowadays?
Yeah.
Oof.
It depends. I will say that
is fun though.
It is. We were actually talking about that. We were talking about that the other day, Blake and I, actually, that it's exhausting, but we are both the type of people, especially him, but I'm very similar, that it's like when you're in it, and you're running and you're running and you're running, you're having a good time. So it's a good life. That's what I always tell people. They're like, wow, you must be tired. Yeah, I'm exhausted, but I can't complain. I've got a job, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And I enjoy what I do. I work with people I love every day. I get to hang out with fools like you. I mean, what can I say? What is there to complain about?
I'm fly as fuck. We can just agree on that.
I know, but I'm so mad because I would have worn my robe.
It's funny. I am kind of pissed that I didn't tell you now.
Because I have a cheetah print one.
What?
It's like fluffy like that. It's cheetah, and I would have totally looked way cooler than you.
I did not know you were a cougar in training.
Look, I wear cheetah print everything. See?
Oh shit, you do too.
Yeah. I love cheetah.
That's probably why you and Stacey get along.
Probably. I am a cheetah girl.
Stacey is literally everything she does. Before we met, when we met, she's like, oh, at the time she would have been 29, and she's just like, oh.
Wait, Stacey's over 30?
She's 33.
Girl, tell me your secrets.
Well, tell her that, and she'll be like, see, Blake, I'm not old.
She's not. I thought she was like in her mid-20s.
Well, our editor thought I was 25.
Yeah, I mean,
and then she was just like, wait, you're double my age because she's 17. I was like, hey, shut the fuck.
You're like, whoa.
Whoa. Okay,
Whoa.
you're making me feel super old.
So she was born like early 2000s. Like 2004, 5?
My editor or Stacey?
No, Stacey was not born
She
in
was
the
definitely not.
2000s.
Well, Anna, when were you? What year were you born?
I was 2003. I'm 19, so she
See,
would be like 2005.
5.
She wasn't even around for 9/11.
I know.
Like, you know, when you're like, hey, when were you when 9/11 happened? She's like, I don't know, fucking Saturn.
My sister was turning a year old.
What?
My sister was turning a year old when 9/11
Oh, I thought you said your
happened.
sister is turning a year old.
No.
was like, wow.
Don't talk to my parents.
Your parents
Yeah.
still throw down.
No, they actually, that sounds like their worst nightmare. We were talking about that the other day about like adopting children, if they would ever consider fostering kids. And my mom was like, maybe fostering, but like, I'm so happy to be done.
I'll be honest, it takes a very big person to do someone who's not your kids.
Yeah.
You know, like everyone likes to pretend. It's like, oh no, it's not that hard. Will you fucking do it?
Yeah.
You know, like it even like there is moments where like you want to, I mean, Sienna not so much because when I'm around her, it's like I can deal with the little bits of like tantrums because I don't have a lot of it. But I can understand like Stacey, like when it's your own kid and when Sienna gets older and it's like really going to be challenging. I mean, that's when my hat goes off to teachers, you know?
Yeah.
Who, one, pull string out of kids' butts for, you know, and it's not their kid.
Yeah.
But two, it's like you have to put up with 30 different kids every day, or the one are not your own. Two, if you like, you have to act like a parent for them.
Yeah.
And then three, you've got their parents going, I just think you're being mean to little Johnny. It's like, well, little Johnny's a little shit. You know, like that's not my fault.
I think we touched on this a bit in the last podcast. I think since then, I don't remember. I have no concept of time anymore. So I'll be honest. But I don't remember. But I think since then, I actually finished my teaching certificate.
Oh.
Which is, it's not anything I want to do.
Finish something you're not going to go ahead with.
Exactly. Yeah, interesting how that all happened. But 31 kids in our second grade classroom. And you do. You love each of those children. And I've never had kids, so I can't tell you what the love of a parent is. I mean, you can, but I know for me, I love each of those 30 children to like my full extent. And I would do absolutely anything for them. But yeah, little Johnny does suck.
Yeah.
Like I might love little Johnny, but he sucks so bad. And his mom sucks even worse. Like it can be very difficult. But at the same note, like you come to school, you're excited. There's a reason why I don't want to go into the industry any now. And it has nothing to do with the kids at all. Actually, yeah, Johnny sucks, but like he's a kid.
Right now there's a Johnny out there.
Poor Johnny.
I'm
sorry. Actually, there was no Johnnies in my class.
I was a good kid.
There is no Johnnies in my class, okay? So I'm not adding any specific child here. Each kid sucks in their own way. And that's great. That's part of the fun of it. I'm sure if there's any other teachers listening right now, they're like, wow, that girl is a total bitch and she does not belong in the classroom.
There's probably a teacher out there who is just like, I have a Johnny.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, exactly.
I'm sure I was a Johnny.
But
for
it has
most kids,
nothing
most
to do with
teachers.
this. Yeah, exactly. And it has nothing to do with children as to why I don't want to go into the industry. It has to do with administration. Not even parents.
Me, it was the parents when I did personal training for like boot camps. I can deal with the kids being little shits. Because again, they're little kids. They're learning. They're doing everything. That's cool. But when freaking Mary comes up to me and she's like, actually, shit, I think I just actually named the person.
Sorry, Mary.
Sorry, Mary. Not that I think, whatever. But when that one is like then accusing me of all these things that I didn't do or I'm bullying her child, it's like, no, your child literally seeks out doing the wrong things.
Right.
And, he always picks on her. It's like, well, maybe if she didn't do the wrong things. You know?
I
can't pick on you. Like, why is it that every other kid that's well behaved, their parents are like, Blake's a great guy. Why is that? Why?
Right. Well, I don't know. I believe that children.
Don't you side with Mary right now?
I'm not.
I am making a point.
I'm not going to side with Mary because we've all dealt with a Mary in the child care industry.
I was trying to avoid Karen. That's what I was
no
like.
Karens. I feel bad for Karens. There's nice Karens.
My accountant in Australia was named Karen.
Yeah.
Lovely lady.
Lovely ladies.
Lovely.
Oh, poor Karen. My grandma's name was Karen.
Really?
But not with a K. Caren.
That's weird.
Is that odd?
That is odd.
See, growing up, because
That's a
she was
Saren.
my grandma Karen, that was how I thought Karen was always spelled. And then as we've gotten into the Karen world, where everyone's a Karen if you're being just semi-opinionated in public.
Or a Keith. I named
my uncle's name is Keith.
Really?
Yep, I've got a Karen and a Keith.
See, I call like dudes who act like a Karen a Keith. Karen and Keith.
Why Keith?
Don't know. Just
Well,
Don't ask questions that I don't have answers for.
Well, I just did. So I don't know. I feel as if children acting out are a way that they're learning. That's how they show their intake of knowledge, that you have to try things and do them wrong in order to learn how to do it the right way. Parents, on the other hand, and I've never been a parent, so it's hard to like really pass a judgment. I think that parents see their children as like this all being like could never do wrong type of child, like type of person. Oops, excuse me, microphone. My bad.
You can touch it.
Me.
Oh.
And so it's easy for them to come at people who are maybe trying to hold their children more accountable. And that is, as educators, that's part of our role, is to hold children accountable and teach them how to be better human beings.
Yeah.
So when that Karen comes up to you and is like, you're mean to little Johnny. No, I actually wasn't mean to little Johnny. I was doing my job and trying to help educate him, and not just in like math and science, but like how to be a decent human being.
Yeah.
It's not students or parents that keeps me out of the education field. It's administration.
Interesting. What about the administration?
There's just a lot of lack of support for educators out there right now, especially in the state of Florida. I've noticed it across the board. I think any of my educator friends, now granted, again, I've spent 1 year in the industry, so I cannot even touch, like, I'm not even going to touch the glacier on this. Like, most of the teachers I've worked with, actually, when I was doing my internship, were like, are you sure you want to go into teaching? And I was like,
that's concerning.
And it's scary. Yeah. I mean, I had multiple teachers and they'd say things to me like, and these were great educators who have been in the business for 20 plus years. They're like, are you sure? Like, this is what you deal with every day. And it was never the children they were talking about. It was the administration not showing support. There's not enough funding for them. And truly it's the teacher's fault. So like in the classroom that I was in, the majority of our students were not reading at a second grade level. That was being blamed on the second grade teacher, although those children came in not reading at a first grade level or a kindergarten level even. And so all of that blame is getting pushed on that second grade teacher. But in reality, those kids were set up to fail. That teacher was set up to fail. And the administration points at her because she's the easy target right now. But first grade didn't teach them how to read either. Kindergarten didn't teach them how to read. So we're playing catch up, trying to get these students to read at a level that they were never ready to read at anyway.
Yeah. It's also a bit to do with like money, because that was my experience. Again, 50 kids and parents were like, no, Blake does well. And then there was one that had 3 kids in this private school. And so that across, you know, you extend that across a decade, that's like 200, 300 grand to the school.
Right.
Rather than like, even when they were getting the complaint and she was complaining, this is how much of like, they were writing it down going, I don't think this is what happens. I don't think, like, all these things where like she is notoriously a high maintenance parent, that as they were writing it down, they're like, this is all bullshit. So they obviously called me in and like, you know, it was things like I left her daughter at the gate, you know, just left her there after I left, which was literally a 180 flip of the lie, because she was always late to pick up her daughter. And she would tell me, just leave there, she'll be fine, I'll be there soon. And like, I'm not fucking doing that. Right. And so I would stay, and I'm getting paid for 45 minutes, and I'm here for an hour and a half because of one parent. And then so she's saying stuff like that where, you know, literally complete lies of the opposite thing that I would do. And despite that, the whole team that dealt with me was like, dude, she's full of shit, we know that. And then the people above it who don't know who she is.
And don't know who you are.
And don't know who I am, you know. And I know that it was probably like, there was other things too. Like, this was a good little Catholic school.
Right.
And I did things that, you know, they wouldn't like, which was just like, shut up and just do it.
Yeah.
But guess what? They would do it. Or like, if someone, like, it was a whole, if someone was like, if I told everyone, hey, you have to do blank. If one person didn't do it, I punished the rest, so they would bully her. So they would hold them accountable. Like,
yeah.
And I told her lessons in life and teams and stuff. But instead of them being like, and this is almost 10 years ago. Like, this is before all the super woke stuff. But even 10 years ago, I was teaching them accountability in a way of like, hey, society will bully you to become something, and I'm going to make sure that this group bullies you to do the thing to excel.
Right.
And that was
I don't like the word bully. I feel like
pressure, social pressure.
I feel like bully has such a negative connotation, rightfully so. Bullying is wrong. Period. For the most part.
Bully me to be a better person, I'm all in.
But I don't think that's bullying. I think that there has to be a different word used because there is like straight up bullying, which is just fucked up. I mean, it is just fucked up. I mean,
are we getting into phonetics now?
Yeah,
okay, I'm down.
Okay, let's do it. Bullying is screwed up. Like the act of coming after someone repetitively for nothing, for no purpose, that is screwed up. I feel like what you're doing is more encouraging through social pressure, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
That is, in my head, there's a line. There's a line that shouldn't be crossed, especially when depending on the children's age and this and that. But it's not bullying per se.
No, I guess that. Well, they would be like, get up, Sally.
But is that bullying
Sally,
or
you
holding
suck.
your teammate accountable?
Yeah. Okay.
I wouldn't call that bullying.
Okay. Depends on who you talk to, because again, I got told I was promoting bullying.
Well, they were worried about lawsuits. They didn't want to get sued.
You made my daughter be a better human.
Yeah.
Like you. Like, but even other things.
If we're gonna call
too.
that bullying, then I got bullied a lot.
Oh, 100%. But it's like that's the thing that makes me laugh when people talk, again, circling back, when people call this generation weak, I'm like, you guys are to blame.
Yes.
Because every time something like that happened and I get in trouble for trying to make these girls strong, not in like, I'm going to take over the world, but just, hey, you're in a fitness class.
Right.
Do the fucking stuff.
That's it.
That's all I'm asking.
Well,
and now it's like, you go, oh, they're weak. It's like, I tried.
Yeah. Well, we were the participation.
That was a very fast movement of tongues.
Participation trophy era. Bum, bum, bum. And I don't know. I don't know if I know we've got a little bit of an age gap between us, but I feel like it kind of started around you and ended around maybe if it ended.
It started, what I noticed was, it started when parents started thinking their kids know more than they really do. And so it started when it was my age, like early 2000s, it was like, it was like 20-year-olds.
Right.
Kind of knew what they were doing in life. No, we don't.
No.
Like when I was 20, I look back, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
I still don't know what I'm doing.
Again, I'm figuring it out as we go. But, again, people shit all over these 20-year-olds. They don't want to work. It's like they're figuring out what they want to do. They don't want to work 20 years, pumping shit out of a pipe for $15 an hour.
Right.
And you're like, they got no work ethic. It's like, no, they don't want to make you money.
Right.
That's why you're angry. Yeah. And they don't want to do that. And so I saw it start at that age group. Then when I got a bit older, I noticed that all of a sudden 16, 17-year-olds know what they have to do. Like, don't tell little Johnny.
Oh, poor Johnny.
Back Johnny
I'm
again.
sorry, Johnny. Now you're older now, though.
He knows what he's doing in life. No, he doesn't. And then it just slowly got younger and younger to now where it's like, little 3-year-old Emily knows she hasn't been tainted by the world. And then, therefore, she knows exactly, and she's pure. And if she says blank, she is blank.
Right.
And so we have to act upon on that, because if little Emily thinks that she's a boy, well, we have to start putting some hormones into her.
Oh, boy, we're going here today.
I'll just touch on that one. But that's what I mean. Like, it's all those sort of things. And so it's like the parents need to be parents. And it's fucking hard. Like, watching it, Stacey does an incredible job. People can comment on my job. I don't want to comment myself. But, like, my whole thing is, like, no, let her figure it out. So,
right.
like, one thing with Sienna was months ago, when she was just learning how to stand and everything, so Stacey's grandmother, so, like, great-grandmother to Sienna, is like, help her, Blake. I'm like, no, she's figuring it out. Oh, you're mean. And I'm like, no. That's the opposite, because I'm trying to get her to, I'm promoting her and encouraging her to figure it out herself and make those neuron connections, make those,
That's the only way they learn. They have to be textile with it.
And so even that generation, great grandparents, so 80-year-olds, as saying that I'm mean because I don't just give her something. But then when she grows up and she's used to getting shit given to her, she's lazy. It's like, you fucking trained her.
Yeah, and I think we should talk about this special word really quick. Mean. Why? Okay. I, in my daily life, get called mean a good amount. Not like in a professional sense, but like within my personal life. People are like, wow, you're mean. And I'm sitting back.
I would not call you mean in the slightest.
Right. Yeah, I would. I don't find myself to be mean. I find that people call me that when they don't like what I have to say about something. And what I mean by that is I hold people to the same standards that I hold myself, which sometimes isn't fair. And I'm working on that. That's one of my goals for 2023 is not expecting people. Yeah, it's difficult. But I do. I hold people, people that I have in my life to a pretty high standard just because I hold myself to a high standard. And I want to surround myself with that. And it depends on who the person is. It can. Like, I'm not going to expect the same thing out of another person. But when I hold people to that standard, oftentimes they throw it back at me and say, you're mean.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm mean for expecting a lot out of the people that I surround myself with. I'm mean for holding you to that standard. And eventually, I know I told Alex the other day, and this is just like a complete side note, had nothing to do with him and I, but I remember telling him, I'm like, if people keep calling me mean, then I'm going to become mean, because what is the point?
Yeah.
If I'm getting called that anyway, why would I not be mean? And he looked at me, he's like, well, don't do that. I don't find you to be a mean person. And I'm like, well, I'm just done. If people are going to keep calling me that, that's what I'm going to become.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think it's interesting when you're talking about, like, in relation to Sienna, people calling you mean for not helping her, and you're like, no, I'm not being mean. I want her to learn.
Yeah, well, that's the funny thing is I am helping her.
Exactly.
Like, my thing is I want her to learn how to learn.
Right.
I don't want her to and part of that is figuring out how to outsource.
Yeah.
But right now, I don't need to pick her up every single time she tries something.
Right.
You know? And if she can't reach for something, I'm like, all right, how can you, like, Stacey hates it because I encourage her to climb shit and encourage her to, like, get things she shouldn't be getting.
Right.
You know, but, you know, so it's funny how I'm always, like, pushing her to do something because I'm like, all right, you're going to, like, when she just learned how to walk, she was going up and down our driveway on an angle, and they're like, don't do that, she'll fall over. And I'm like, but she's learning different elevations at 9 months old.
Right.
10 months old. She's learning different elevations. So I'm like, boom. And because I'm not like around her, it's Blake's really just blasé. He's like, you know, he's on his phone. Like, I mean, I'm watching her, but I'm doing work and, like, I'm doing this.
Right.
But again, they're like, oh, he's not attentive. I'm just like, I don't need to be like,
You're like, I'm not. I'm not.
you know?
Well, even
it didn't
if
help.
you
Then
were,
she fractured her arm like 2 months later on my foot.
I was just thinking about that. I'm like, wow, I'm sure that didn't help.
But you know the funny thing? The funny thing was, and this is where it's got like this drop down effect. I hate that it happened when I was around, because it wasn't that I was around looking after her. It was a normal thing in the lanai.
Right.
She's walking. She stands there, like she just stands in front of me and then just falls out of nowhere on my foot. And rather than it being like, okay, that was just a freak accident, it was, well, Blake, you should have done this, this, and this. I'm like, what do you want me to do? Wrap her up in bubble wrap and then just have her roll around like that, like Oompa Loompa thing?
You and I can relate on a little something here, although it's different, like your child versus my dog. But my dog was like 2 or 3 months old, and we are playing fetch. And this dog and I played fetch every day. Doug, he's a corgi. He's really freaking cute. I mean, not
Shakes the booty.
Oh my God, he's awesome. But his legs are like this big. Like they're like maybe 3 inches. And we're playing fetch. This was a normal daily occurrence. And all of a sudden, he's just running and he trips and he breaks his freaking leg.
Yeah.
And literally to this day, people are like, oh, you broke Doug's leg. And I'm like, how the hell? Like Alex, every freaking time, he's like, I don't know how you did it, but you broke Doug's leg. My parents are like, yeah, you broke the dog's leg. Because he kind of has like a little bit of like his foot's turned in, and so it comes up often. And I'm like, wait a freaking second. I did not do that. I did not like go up to his leg and snap it in half. We were playing fetch. They're like, I don't know. And it was really expensive if you're wondering to get a dog's
it's
leg
America.
Unbroken. But like, I'm like, dude, I
Nothing's
didn't
cheap here.
do it.
Nothing's cheap
It
here.
wasn't me.
I don't know how you
I
do
do
it.
not claim this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I can relate to you a little bit. Like, even though it was just a normal thing,
Yeah.
but then
But
somehow it's my fault.
Yeah. Like, what is it with partners if the same thing happens it's like she fell over. She falls over around me. It's like you're not paying attention.
Right.
And I'm like, really? What is going on there? Why?
Yeah.
You know?
I can't even make a comment on that because that's just like an everyday thing.
Yeah.
It's just like I've just accepted that as part of my life now. I don't even
See,
like,
I'm just like, I can't sit there and just be like, all right. And don't worry.
well, I
like,
just start laughing because
I put it out.
it'll happen to him eventually. It'll happen, and then he'll be like, "Oh, it was an accident," and I'm like, "Yeah, much like you reamed me out for like 3 days over this."
The problem where it gets real tricky is it's like and here's where it becomes a real problem is rather than me just being like, hey, can you see how the same thing happens to both of us, your response is completely different. The problem is now I have to start pointing out where it happens for them.
Right.
And now I look like a dick because it's
Yeah.
like, well, see, you do it too. And I don't want to be that guy. And
I've just
but I have
accepted
to be
it.
that to be like, hey, can you please start looking on both sides and start seeing that? Because when we first started with Sienna would be crying if I was looking after her, and Stacey will come out and look at me with this fucking like,
What are you doing wrong?
what are you doing wrong look? And I would snap at her every time. I'm just like, does she cry with you? And I just, and it was, it's one of those growing pain things. And she ended up going like, why do I do that? Like, why is my go-to that you're doing something wrong?
Right.
And I was like, okay, that's good. But you have to have those growing pains when you got a child.
So allegedly, I have a generational stink eye. Allegedly, like stink eye. So, and I call it generational because I know for a fact my grandfather has one. I definitely know my dad has one. But apparently I have one too. And I use it very sparingly. But when I use it, it scares the crap out of people, particularly Alex. And he always says, he's like, what? And I don't realize I'm doing it. And it's funny because my dad didn't realize he was doing it. And I'm sure my grandpa didn't realize. But I'll like say something to Alex or I'll walk into a room and he'll be like, why are you looking at me like that? And I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? And he's like, you're looking at me all shitty. And I'm like, I'm just looking at you. And he's like, no, you've got the look. And I'm like, my generational stink eye.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I don't know. And I don't
Maybe
know if I
that's
use it on people in like the real world.
That could just be Alex though. Because I see
my
see
mom-
looks from Sienna. I'm sorry, from Stacey. Stacey see looks from me where I'm just like,
My
I
mom
didn't do
says
that.
I did. My mom says I do it. I've never had someone in the real world like you or like someone I work with be like, dude, what is wrong with your fucking face?
That's the problem when you get too close to people.
Yeah. Is they
Like-
start noticing.
Well, they notice things that sometimes might not be there. It might be internal.
Right.
Well,
That's what I told him. I remember telling him he got so mad at me one night about it. And I was like, I think this is a you problem, not a me problem.
yeah, it's not me, it's you.
And that is, that is probably the worst way to put anything with anyone. It's like, hey, this is not a me problem, this is a you problem. But lately, and people are probably going to disagree with me, psychologists out there, come at me, I'm ready. But like, that has been my thing. It's like, my entire life, I've taken on everything as a me problem. Like, my friend fell and broke their arm, for example, and somehow I'm able to turn that into something like I did something wrong. And so this last year, and maybe it's because I just don't have the time to give a shit anymore, I don't know. But like, I've been evaluating every situation and being like, wait, hold on. This is not a me problem. This is a you problem.
Yeah.
And I've told people that recently, and it doesn't always go over that great. But one, I feel better because I'm releasing it off my plate.
Yeah.
And two, later on, once they get a second to evaluate, they're like, oh, wait, you're right. Like, that wasn't a you problem at all. And I'm finding that that's been very healthy with setting boundaries with people, including Alex, including people who are very close with me, being like, hey, yo, not a me problem, you problem.
Yeah, that is a very important thing to do, but it's fucking hard.
It's we've talked about this before.
I had one of those conversations last night.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like, it just feels like they happen. You're just like, ugh.
I'm horrible at setting boundaries with people. That's probably my biggest downfall.
I am pretty good now.
Yeah.
You should be good at it though, because like I find the busier I get, like for example, now it's like I don't reach out and very few people will I go and personally catch up. Like
Right.
I don't do face to faces anymore. I don't have time.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, if you want to network or have fun, like I'll schedule 20 minutes on a Google Meet
Right.
But I'm not driving to have, because one, I don't even know what you want.
Right.
You know, like I've had a few people recently. It's just like, oh, we need to catch up. I'm just like, about what though?
Right,
I need a
yeah.
reason to come and see you, and you know
I'm getting better
that's a
about
good boundary.
it. Yeah, since I've gotten busier, like you said, it's easier to set that boundary. But I'm not setting that boundary necessarily for myself. I'm setting it because I just don't have the time.
Yeah.
But I think it all goes in like with the practice of it.
Mm.
So like just because like as of right now, I'm not setting that boundary. Like no, I don't want to. It's like no, I don't have time. But I'm getting used to telling people no.
Yeah.
And then over time, I'm hoping that it'll be easier when I do have the time. Be like, no, I don't want to.
Yeah. The best way to do that, so the best trick to give someone bad news without sounding like a bitch.
Is it
or
the
a
sandwich effect?
No, I don't do that.
I love doing that.
It's the butt effect.
Like BUTT?
No. But that would really help,
But-
guys. Yeah. Just give them some OnlyFans content. Most of the time, say for example, when I invited you to come to dinner, if you're like, I'd love to, but I can't because of blank.
Right.
The butt accelerates everything after. BUT.
I'm sorry. The butt accelerates.
Well, everyone notices everything after the butt. That's the way to remember it.
Everything. So wait, now
So-
that everyone notices. Wait, say that one more time.
Everything that I say after the word but is the thing that you hear because it sort of amplifies it. So
True.
if it's like, I wish I could, but I can't. I'm so sorry.
Like, I'm sorry, but have you ever gotten in that fight?
Those ones there, yeah. That's
you only hear everything after the but though.
That's reserved for Cindy. So if you flip it, where it's just, oh man, I can't make it to dinner tonight, but please let me know when you're going next.
Right.
Now I feel great. I'm like, oh, that sucks. But her intentions,
Right.
or his intentions, are still like they want to hang out with me.
Got it.
It's a hard thing to train,
Yeah.
where it's you lead with the negative and with the positive, but it will make it way more like, one, you won't burn any, like, because if you have to say no 3 times in a row, usually people go like, fuck it, I'm not going to do it anymore.
Right.
But if you keep having that, you know, oh man, I know I said like I can't last 2 times. Right now I'm doing blank, and I can't. But I know it's hard, but please keep inviting me because I do want to make an effort to come.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that helps. It also helps you get out of it without feeling like an asshole.
I don't know. I always feel like an asshole. Like even the other day, we were supposed to do this, Wednesday?
Well, yeah, but dude, you slept like 2 hours.
I know, but
she slept 3 hours though. So you know what? Actually,
She makes me beat.
yeah.
I'm sorry, girl.
Did you say she looked beat?
No, it wasn't. What?
She just said you look like rat shit.
I did not say
I
that.
can't believe you said those
no,
words.
I said she had me beat.
You said, I heard it. She said, oh my God, you look like a train
I actually
ran over
think
you,
she
Anna.
looks quite nice.
It looks
I
horrible.
think you're being an asshole.
I can't believe you would leave the house
I think
looking
she-
like that.
No, I did not say that.
It is disgusting.
I think she looks.
You
I think you're saying that. I think Blake's saying that.
I just can't believe you would say something like that.
I think she looks quite nice actually. Especially for only
For
having
someone
3
who got
hours.
hit by a train, fantastic.
You're pink and blue.
Exactly. And she only got 3 hours of sleep. Look at her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're an asshole.
I can't believe you said that though.
I didn't say that. You said that.
All right, Karen. That was more of I can't use like
Karen.
Stacy is such like a
You
know,
can't use the word
I
Stacey.
can't
Your
use Stacey.
wife's name
'Cause
is
if I go like that's
Stacey.
such a Stacy thing because like I go to like Stacy in high school
Stacey.
and I do that and people I can't do it.
You sound like a
Fuck.
dick because your wife's name is Stacey. And
I'm
I would say that
stuffed.
she's like the exact opposite of like a Stacey. I love you, Stacey.
All right.
In my opinion,
Sometimes.
I've never found her to be like the audacity.
Oh no, that word's been used. That word's been used.
I know someone who loves that word.
As soon as someone does that. Oh, what? Greta Thunberg?
The audacity.
How dare you?
I love it. She's whoever that person is might listen to this, and I'm
What, Greta
adding you.
Thunberg?
No, the audacity.
Oh, yeah. So, no, you barely had slept, so I was like, that's cool, man. Like, it's fine.
Oh my god, it was horrible. I felt so bad. Like I'm not a plan canceller whatsoever. If
A plane canceller?
a plan canceller,
Okay.
a canceller of plans.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not that. I hate canceling plans. If I tell you I'm going to be somewhere, you come hell or high water, I will try to be there. But I definitely did not sleep. And I was thinking about it. I'm like, God, I'm going to come on this podcast. I'm just going to be sitting there and Blake's going to be like, so Jordan, how was your day? And I'm like, I didn't sleep last night. I'm like, that wouldn't be good. The people deserve better.
They do.
The people really do.
But no, but that's the difference between certain people. Like, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh. And they do it again. Like, I have a very strict cutoff. Like, again, there was a meeting. I can't say it because I don't know if they watch this.
We could use Johnny again.
It's too specific and too fresh.
Never mind. Let's skirt around that. Ready? Skirt.
Well, I mean, okay, if someone reaches out to me,
Yes.
if someone reaches out to me and they're like, hey, look, we need to catch up. We need to do this. We need to do whatever. And I'm like, great. And then the first one you reschedule me, I'm already on the bad foot because I'm just like, hold on. This editor.
You came to me.
Yeah, there was this editor. So a guy reached out to me to edit after the Elon Musk video went viral and got like 7-8 million views. So he reached out to me. He's like, hey, I would love to edit for you. And I was like, all right, I'll try it out because I can do my batch idea of just pumping out content.
Right.
And I'm like, all right, cool, man. We'll send across 2 clips for you to edit and test it out. And he goes, cool. Can you send them on the 19th of December? And at that point, that was 3 weeks away.
Yeah.
And I go, hold on. I go, so you've reached out to me for a job.
Yeah.
Now you want me to wait 3 weeks.
You're not ready yet.
Yeah. And I'm like, hold on. And so anyway, I was like, don't worry about it, dude. And he goes, oh, I'm so sorry. On the 19th, he emails me and I was like, he goes, hey, can you do it? I'm fine, dude. I'll send you 2, whatever. 3 days go past. Haven't heard from him. Email to him. I'm like, dude, you'll never be in my team.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm so sorry. I was at the hospital. I'm like, all right, if it was just that, I believe it. But it's like, dude, you hit me up trying to get a job. I give you the opportunity. You asked me to wait 3 weeks. I then wait 3 weeks. And then
you're in the hospital.
It's another 3 days.
Yeah.
Like,
even if you were in the hospital, at that point, you've left such a sour taste.
It's multiple things.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. Well, and actually, it's funny because...
But he also replied very quickly to my one saying you don't have the job.
Oh, of
That
course.
was the other thing. It was like, all right, you didn't reply when I sent you the videos. Then I go, you want not getting the job? And you got out of hospital right then? Like,
of course.
What are the odds?
Yeah. Well, and I think... Like we've talked about this. One of the flaws that I've noticed in myself and people around me is responding to texts. We are horrible about responding to texts. I'm a person that give me a call. I'd rather just talk to you on the phone for 10, 20 minutes.
Wait, that never happens.
Yeah, it does.
10, 15 minutes?
Well, for you and me, no. You and me, we'll sit there and talk for like an hour and a half, and I'm like, oh no,
It's like,
this is a problem.
first work.
I'm like, I got to go back to work, dude. But no, I would rather. But Apple now has that little that feature where you
Unread?
can. Yes,
I can't believe it took him, 10 years to figure that out?
I have. You want to know how many missed texts I have right now?
I'm going to guess. Hold on. Over and under. Between 40 and 70.
No.
Damn.
No, because you know why?
What?
I have 10 right now.
Oh.
Which is a miracle. Normally, and a lot of people I know can relate to this. I'm sitting about 100, unresponded to text messages. And that's not including the ones that I've opened, was like, oh, I'm going to respond, and then got distracted. So I've got 10 right now. But that's not the point. Those 10 are all ones that I've marked as unread so that I can go back and respond to them when I actually have an answer. Instead of just forgetting about it, it's a miracle. And it's probably the best thing to ever happen to me.
Apple, though, I'm still amazed that Apple hasn't figured out how you can just go, can you just show unread? Because sometimes you're scrolling and where's this blue dot?
Oh,
Where is the blue dot? And
in your email where you can click unread first.
In unread,
Yeah.
boom. All right.
Yeah.
And let me just go through them. Same as even I think you can do it with Instagram. You can do it with Instagram.
Yeah.
You can do it with how is it every other platform's done it, but the biggest company in the world can't figure it out?
I don't think it's that they can't figure it out. I just think they don't care to. I'll be honest with you.
They're like, why change it?
Like, why? Yeah. Well, it's nice too because someone like you will text me and you'll ask me a specific question. I might not have that question. I might not have the answer to it, or I have the answer to it, but I'm in the middle of something else.
Yeah.
But I'll open it and read it, and what would always happen is I'd open it and read it, get distracted, and then forget about it till 4 days later when you come back in my head, and I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And never responded. I'm such an asshole.
It happened because, what was it? It happened to me literally yesterday. So we want to do an event at Cars on Fifth, trying to get the talks about that. We're some wild, stupid stuff. So we'll see if it's
I'd
allowed.
expect nothing less.
Yeah. We want to do a podcast in the middle of the street.
Oh, that's fun.
Not if there's like street physically, but you know what I mean? Like where it's pure chaos.
Right.
I want to wear some outrageous stuff.
Expect nothing less.
Something, yep. And a few other things, but I linked up. I asked my friend Alicia, and she was like, "Yeah, I'll link you up with the guy." And she's like, "I linked you up with this guy before. What happened?" And I go, "I don't know." And I didn't follow it up apparently, but then I realized why. It was because it was the Friday before the hurricane, and I'd messaged him. I was like, "All right, sweet. How's next week?" He goes, "Sounds good." And I'm like, "All right, I'll contact you midweek."
Wow.
And then, midweek, Hurricane Ian makes a arrival. And so it
Kinda
just
screwed
completely...
some things up.
Yeah, and it just completely skipped my brain. And then she's like, "Oh, you fucked up." And I was like, looked at the time, and I go, "Oh, sorry, dude. Here, I figured out why I never got back to you.
Yeah.
My house was hit by Ian."
You're like, it was only an
Literally the
almost
day I
Cat
said-
5 hurricane came ripping through, but it's totally
Yeah.
fine. It actually kind of reminds me, that event we went to where we're the only 5 people to show
That
up?
was great.
It was
Oh,
so funny. I don't
That
remember
was
what the event
fantastic.
was.
It was
but
like some ridiculous
kinda-
Naples thing.
it was kind of strange, but I just
That
love.
dude was interesting.
He was very, very interesting, and I actually stayed in contact with him. Very
Why?
nice guy. He emails me every now and then.
I
and
found him a little weird.
he was. Well, yeah,
He was an
a
interesting
little, He was a
character.
little weird, but it's that connection thing. It's never a bad thing to like just keep like respond to the email. that he
Yeah.
sends. I mean, who knows? And that's kind of how business around here works. You never
Yeah.
know when.
So for people that want to find out this, so I mean, during the hurricane, it was a lot to take on. I was having a bit of a low moment. It's getting emotional.
A little bit. It's a little emotional.
I think
We all were.
Given all this shit, I was like, damn. That's when I knew I was pretty mentally strong.
Yeah.
Like very mentally strong.
If
So I'm
you
like,
didn't break down during the hurricane, at least like post hurricane, at least once, I like
well, I didn't. That's the thing. I never cried.
you maybe didn't cry, but we were all. A
I was
little
emotionally drained. And
yeah.
the wifey was
Gone.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
she was trying to get me to give her answers to shit I don't know, and then
I understand.
life stuff.
Yeah.
But
Hashtag
so
life's tough.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I reached out to you guys like, well, can we do something? You're like, why don't you come to this event? And so we get to the event. Well, I got there early.
Yeah, you did.
And
I
look
got
in-
there late.
I get there early, and I've been to this place before. I can't remember what it was, but I knew that there was the main bar area and the conference room thing. And I look in. There's only one dude there, and I was like, all right, it mustn't be where it is, because I mean, I'm right on time, and there's no way. Like, there's clearly that's a different thing. Go out, sit at the bar, wait for Blake, number 2 in my life, 1 in your life, and he and I are just chatting. I mean, he's dressed to the nines. I'm dressed. I look like a fancy hobo, and
Per usual.
per usual. Right now, we get there. Sorry, I asked the lady. I'm like, so where's the blank event? She goes, oh, it's in that room. I was like, really, really? She's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, all right, cool. Maybe people will come later. And then you and Hannah eventually get there, and you're like, so how is it? I'm like, we're the only people here.
Well, no, you guys didn't even say that.
Oh, no, I didn't tell you.
No,
I waited for you. It's pretty cool.
You
It's pretty
and
cool.
Hannah and Blake were all inside, and Hannah's texting me because I'm running late. I had a client meeting or something. So I was like, with those events, normally you can show up 10, 15 minutes late. No one notices. Not a big deal. You just walk in. No. Hannah's texting me. She's like, you're never going to believe it. And I'm like, is it crazy? Who's there? What's going on? And she's like, just wait and see. So I get there, and you meet me outside, and we're chatting about life. It was, crazy time. First time we'd seen each other, I think, since after the hurricane. And I ask you as we're about to walk in, I'm like, all right, what am I walking into? And you go something along the lines of, oh, you'll never believe it. So we walk in, and I literally see Blake, number 1 for me, 2 for you, sitting there talking to this guy. Hannah's like sitting there, a whole table of food. And like it's completely
Mind you,
completely
this is in a
empty room.
huge room as well.
It's
So
massive.
nothing looks more sad than a huge conference room that's designed for 70,
felt
80,
so
100
bad for the
people.
guy.
And then there's 2 people.
Oh my gosh. I walk in, I was like, oh God. I felt so, well, because one, I don't know how it all came to be, but I'd received the emails.
Still have it.
We
Still
should
have it.
probably give it to them eventually.
Nope. They didn't come to get their award. Sushi Thai, I have your award. If you guys want this award, tough titties, I have it now.
We have a picture with
Yeah.
Blake and I took a picture with it because this is what the horrible part. So this guy was a little off, wouldn't you say? He was just a little different.
I told you, he's a very unique guy.
Yeah.
He was very, very cool.
He was very nice and he had a lot of food and he got his beer. We can't complain. But like he had all these awards to hand out to people, but no one to accept them. So he asked all of us to accept them. And it was the most bizarre situation.
Well, it just showed me how fake and so much bullshit there is in all this stuff. Like all those awards and stuff. Like I was talking to Sid, and because he's helping me with a lot of back end stuff in between his job. Because he's like, I want to be just doing shit with you. I was like, all right, sweet. And I go, so what awards can I work at? And he goes, dude, the majority of them are paid for. Don't even worry. He goes, the only one I'm going for is blank. And I was like, all right, cool. He goes, we're going to go for that and gun for it next year. Because I'm the same. I don't want to, all these people that like have Forbes articles written about them, friggin' all these other ones that are like, I got rid of this. It's like, you paid $8,000 for that. It doesn't, and no one looks at it. You know, it's just so you can have a little thing that says as featured in Forbes, but no one gives a shit anymore.
Right.
No one cares that I was like, as seen on TV. No one watches TV.
I do.
Well, you're old.
I watch Netflix. Does that count?
No.
Well, I have YouTube TV.
That's all YouTube.
Well, actually, funny story about YouTube TV. The other day, I have
Wait,
not.
you pay for YouTube TV?
Well, my parents do.
Oh, shout out parents.
Thank you, mom and dad.
What's on YouTube TV? Because I don't watch any of that.
Well, one, I can get all the news stations, which there's a story with that. But two, I like Yellowstone, which we can also get on Paramount. I don't really know. I don't know. My parents
they're always like 3 months for free. I'm like,
well, my parents use it religiously. They love it. I mean, we obviously we kind of like split it up this year. Now that like my sister and I are actually adults, like she's paying for Paramount, I'm paying for Hulu. My parents are doing Netflix and YouTube TV.
Yeah.
And so we have like the whole spread. And I think my grandpa's thrown in there somewhere too. I don't know where he is. But anyway, so we all share these accounts and it works out well. But my parents get YouTube TV and there's a reason. There's like a specific channel they can't get anywhere else that they love. Mm-hmm. So I use it to watch like Yellowstone a day earlier than the people on Paramount. And I don't know. But the other day, it was like 4:00 in the morning. I'm not sleeping. Like I have not been sleeping well. And I turn on YouTube TV and Wink News for the local areas on. And Blake, number 1 for me, 2 for you, is on my TV. And Alex rolls over in bed and he goes, turn this shit off. And I was like, shit. I'm like fumbling and I can't get it off. And I'm actually like turning up the volume. I'm like, oh my God, because I have a little Roku remote. And Alex goes, can I not escape this guy? He's dead asleep. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm trying. I can't get it off. And he's like, it's not work hours, Jordan. It is 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah. So I've recently become a parent. It's interesting to watch them grow and watch them just become a human being. And one thing that I really have learned from my little Sienna, kids will do what you do. They do not do what you say. That has really resonated recently with me. I need to be an example to my daughter and whatever future kids I have with my health, my fitness, making sure that I can be around to live longer. But not only that, I want to make sure that she has an amazing longer life. She has healthy values built into her. And those values come back to me. I'm the one that's responsible to put on to her. This has been a thing that we've been focusing with the Easy Challenge for parents. I know being a parent is very little time you can do. So finding hours and hours to go to the gym, finding time to meal prep everything, it's too much when you're a parent. So with this, we developed the 1-2 compound method. And this has helped parents lose up to 20 pounds in the first month. And some have even lost more than that leading into the second month and beyond. So if you're a parent and you want to figure out, you know what, I want to be around, I want to be more present with my kid physically and more active, being able to keep up with them, being able to instill more values of health so that they can not only have a better life, but also live longer because, healthy life, longer life. Hey. So to find out more about this, just go to my Instagram. It is Aussie Blake Doyle. Now that is OZ Blake Doyle. And then just slide in my DMs and write the word easy, or you can write more than that if you want, and I'll send you some information to find out how easy this easy challenge is. Now let's get back to the show. So you have to, this is where the news have really lost their brains. They always just want you to pay for something that we've already established that 99% of it is complete bullshit.
Yes.
You know, like CNN Plus.
Yes.
Like whoever had that idea, like, oh, we'll make a more expensive version of the CNN. No one wanted it for free. And they
yeah, but
invested
it's exclusive. So you and I have talked about this.
Yeah, but they failed.
They did fail, but there are other.
I think they spent like $300 million to invest into it, and they had like 10,000 subscribers.
That's really embarrassing.
Yeah, because again, you can't sell something when people don't even want the free version.
Yeah, I think CNN Plus is a bad example of it, but there are definitely other examples out there where it's like it succeeds only because, not because it's better than whatever the free version is, but because people want to be exclusive. A really good example, and it's too soon to tell if this has succeeded or not, but the Twitter Plus, you posted about that the other day, that you paid for it.
Yeah, Elon. You were charging us $8. I gave it I gave Twitter Blue a chance. I was like, all right, fine, $8 a month. Let's see what this $8 buys me. Barely bought me anything. And then I got an email from Apple going, hey, we're increasing the price to $11 a month. And I was like, well, sweet, cancel.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't.
But you could justify $8, but not 11.
Okay, I could barely justify 8.
Got it.
And then once it was like, okay, what we've done is we've given you a blue check mark, and they say that they showcase you and stuff, but I'm just like, I don't see any of that. And so I'm paying $8 a month, and like, look, I'm not against paying for social media, because if it means paying so I don't get tracked, paying so I can not get ads all the time, I'm okay with that. But when I can't see any benefit from it, and then now you want me to also increase that by what? That's like 45%.
Yeah.
You want to increase the price by 45%. Literally 3 months after you went from $0 to $8. I'm canceling that shit.
Well, and it just gives you a blue check. I don't understand. I mean, I'm not a heavy Twitter user as it is.
I'm a zero Twitter user.
Yeah.
I go on, I tweet, so I have a screenshot of that tweet to put on my Instagram and Facebook.
That's funny. See, you and I are opposite. I've never tweeted. Well, okay, back in high school, I probably did. But like since 2015, when I graduated, I have not tweeted.
Yeah. See, Twitter never took off in Australia at all.
Oh.
Wasn't a thing.
But I do like going on there and reading funny things. Like when I'm bored of Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or whatever. Twitter's like my last resort. Like the girl you call when none of the other girls work out at the bar type of thing. Yeah. Well, boy.
Twitter's the last resort chick.
Literally.
It's like, man, if I close my eyes, I can do it.
Exactly. So I hop on Twitter and I like go through them. And there's some funny shit on Twitter. I mean, it's I really enjoy it, actually. It's actually become, I've actually put it in my rotation a little bit more lately.
It's in your rotation?
It is now.
Yeah?
I love it.
All right. Well, because they don't cancel as much. Like, I got a thing the other day where I think I posted it, where they took down one of my comments due to hate speech, and it was because I said, the guy who looked like, I used his name, I just don't want people cutting this out of context, but I said that the guy looks like Charlie Chaplin. Mm-hmm. Same moustache. The guy was very smart. You know who I'm talking about, right? World War II. He has a Charlie Chaplin moustache.
Yep.
Guy?
That's what I was thinking, but I wasn't sure if we were talking about the same person.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good.
Real cool moustache. I was just saying, because it was like some
I don't know. Okay.
Yeah. I was talking, the clip was about Tate, and I was talking about Tate's smart strategy of distribution of content. Someone gets on there talking about shit that has nothing to do with that one little thing I'm talking about, which is he's smart with his marketing, and here's what we can learn from it. He's like, oh, well, he went to Islam and he's saying this about women. I'm like, I'm not talking about that.
Right.
You know? And so I can't remember what he brought. I think I ended up saying as an example, I'm like, that Charlie Chaplin lookalike guy he's a very smart dude. He's a complete piece of shit.
Right.
Was in the next sentence.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things we can learn from how he motivated people, how he got people together, how he became a very impactful speaker.
Right.
And if you learn those traits and do them for good, then that is like, don't discard everything this guy did.
Because
and shut it off
really
as in like everything's bad. Yeah. But I'm like, still address that he's bad, but like those same principles at the back end, it's a shame that he went such a horrific route, but you can use those same principles of influence and his techniques and use them for good.
Well,
now, that was done for
you're
hate
not-
speech.
And you're not the first person to point that out either. I mean,
No.
I've read novels
But
or
hate
books.
speech.
Yeah.
Hate speech.
Well, I mean, you sneeze
I called
wrong
it.
on
I called the
Twitter.
Charlie Chaplin lookalike a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't want. Maybe they're pro Hitler.
I really doubt that. Well, actually, I don't know. The world is
just
so
saying.
crazy that I'm not.
Zuckerberg
staying
is
out of that.
Zuckerberg is a
I'm not-
German name, people.
I'm
Zuckerberg.
staying out of it.
I'm putting it out there. Zuckerberg is pro that.
Jordan Stynda did not make that comment. That was him.
I'm putting two and two together.
Speaking of-
Oh my god!
speaking of-
it's Zuckerberg.
I do-
all right,
I
it's
do
a
have
German name.
Listen, I'm changing the subject now. Completely boop 180.
Yeah.
That was from Blake Doyle, everybody, by the way.
Like Doll.
Sorry, it's my accent.
Like Doll.
Doyle.
Sounds like you got hit in the throat. Like Doll.
Do. No. Anyway, I do have a bone to pick.
Uh-oh.
You want to pick it?
I'll pick it.
So, I'd say a few months ago,
Uh-oh.
you made a video regarding takeout orders and tipping.
Yes.
Let's talk about
Let's
this.
talk about this.
So, I've had a few people reach out to me.
Context.
Context.
All right.
That's my camera, not that one.
I am a very lovely guy. I want to preface that. I'm a very lovely guy.
Just ask him.
Now, service tips.
Tips.
The word in it, there's a service. Tips. If I'm in a rush, I will buy the food to go and then just eat it in the car because it's like, all right, I'm already paying $20 for this meal. I don't want to pay, wait, $20 plus tax, 7%. Now I have to pay 20% on that plus tax, which is ridiculous. In Australia, if the meal says $20,
It's
you
$20.
pay $20.
Yeah.
Like tax included, tip included, all that shit. Here, same meal, $20.
Plus
Add
7%.
7% tax. So that's what? $1.40. Fucking quick maths. Now I got to put 20% of that on top of the $21.40. And so, hold on. I have
Wait,
to,
do you tip including tax?
I don't know. I tip.
Because I don't.
Well, shit. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. I don't know.
Well, actually, I can't really say that because.
But yeah, I will eat the food in the car to avoid paying that 20%.
So you don't tip takeout delivery at all?
If they deliver it to my house, I will.
No. I'm talking about if you go pick it up from the store and bring it out.
No.
Okay.
Why would I?
Well, that's the bone I have to pick because I've heard. So actually, this video got sent to me by an undisclosed person.
Wait, my video?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And they're
shareable.
like, hey, it's actually been sent to me by two different people, undisclosed
I make
people.
shareable content. What can I
And
say?
they were like, you hang out with this guy? And I was like, yeah, I do. Why? What's up? And I watched the video and they were like, and they're both in the service industry.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And they were like, hey, man, like to me, they're like, what the fuck? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't know what my opinion is. I've always tipped less, but I have tipped.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, this guy's a dick. And I was like, I don't know about that. But anyway, so I was like, all right, when I was thinking about today, I was like, let's talk about this because I didn't know fully what your reasoning was. And it makes sense. However, what I will say is that there is someone that goes in and packs it all up for you. And that is an extra service that they wouldn't be performing like just in general.
Yeah. So here's my pushback.
Okay.
Here's my
I'm
pushback.
ready.
Say they get paid, let's say they get paid real well, $20 an hour.
Okay.
They get paid $20 an hour. That's like what? Packing the bag is a 30-second, 1-minute job.
It depends on what you ordered.
All right. Well, in this case,
Like if you ordered a salad, for example, the person who's packing that bag also is the one that has to put on the sauce. What's
all right. You know what? We'll make it 2 minutes.
Dressing.
We'll make it 2 minutes, okay?
And the croutons. And
Do you know what? Actually, no. We'll make it 3 minutes just so it's easy
Okay.
math. This guy is a slow worker,
Okay.
which now I have to tip for his slow working. That's a whole other kettle of fish. But, okay, 3 minutes
3 minutes.
on $20 an hour. That's $1.
Okay.
Okay. So the employer who is paying $1 to his staff to make him money from the money I'm spending for the food,
Right.
now I have to spend 4 times that to that staff member? And like, so I have to pay the staff 4 times what the employer who makes the money is going to pay them. And I'm the piece of shit, not the employer.
Yeah, no, I understand your point completely. I think that it kind of, the whole situation goes into like our society and how
it's in service too, by the way. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, like, sometimes I don't get tipped on my tables.
Right.
And I'm in service, and it's, like, terrible because it's, like, I have to pay that back.
Right.
When it comes to tipping and they don't tip me, I have to pay that back.
So that's another thing I got a massive issue when I found out about that.
Right.
Like the whole tipping industry is a massive scam by the service industry.
No, I agree.
Because it's like, and that's the thing in Australia, tipping's not a thing. I got tipped when I like bartending.
Right.
That's just because people like don't want to carry the coins, you know? Like, so they go, fuck it, keep the coins. I don't care. You guys don't have that. You have dollar notes.
Well, I think in society we're conditioned, in the United States, we're conditioned for tipping. And that's a good thing. But I also think that servers are also conditioned for those tips and they rely on them. So that is part of their salary. That is part of their wage.
But that's where it's wrong.
And I'm not
because
saying
it's like, that's where it's so ridiculous that there's some sort of scam. And like, look, if food was cheaper,
right.
I'd be like, I don't care. But you do the conversion to Australia.
Yeah.
The meals here are basically on par, if not a little bit more expensive than Australia. Then I have to pay tax.
And then you have to tip.
Then I have to pay 20%.
But is that the server's fault?
I'm not saying it's the server's fault, but it's just funny how, and this is where a lot of things happen in life, but person A is to blame really.
Yes.
Yet we smash person B who's not to blame and like, you're the problem.
Right.
You know? And like, so why is it that the customer has to spend 20 to 25% more? And don't get me wrong, I tip well. Like I tip, dude, I tipped 70% on Friday.
Right.
Because they gave me 50% off and I was like, well, shit, I'll just give you $18 on the $25 plus you did great service. We were there for an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Right.
I will tip you that.
Yeah.
But again, like, but that's $18 that I'm paying paying her across 2 hours of service with us. That I have no problem with on a $25 thing.
Yeah.
Most people wouldn't do that. You know,
Well,
she was blown away when I
yeah.
did that because she's like expecting, oh, he's going to do 20%. He'll tip me $5.
Yeah.
But my issue is like if I get takeout and you've just put something in a bag, I have to tip you $5 for that. Like, it's weird.
Well, and I think it'd be interesting to hear more.
There's so much more than just putting it in a bag, though.
And are they missing
how much love
out,
goes into it?
And my question is are they missing out on a tipping table by being the person that puts it into the bag?
Yeah, but again, it comes down to the system where it's like, why is that?
Oh, I agree. I think the system is screwed up in general, but I also feel as if it's not. It's that generational system that none of us have had any control over.
But no one gets angry at the boss.
No, I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's the funny thing. Like,
it's kind of like if something's done wrong for so long, people don't see it as wrong anymore.
yeah, like I feel weird tipping $1 on my burrito when I go to Moe's.
Welcome to Moe's.
Yeah. Like I tip $1 on that. But again, they've at least they've made it, and like then I know that's weird to say that, but it's like I have a relationship with them, so I see them, I talk to them, and that's different. So I'm like, yeah, cool. But I don't know if
that's why I like Europe. Let's just talk about that.
Europe and Australia, you don't have to tip
Europe
at all.
and Australia are
just don't tip.
Well, and they get
have the
at
employers
least
pay.
In Spain, where I've spent the majority of my time, they actually get mad if you try to tip.
Oh yeah, I did in Hungary. That happened to me.
Yeah, and
what are you doing?
Yeah,
oh, shit, don't take the money.
I was told that before I got there. Thank God.
Yeah.
And I watched it happen to another American table behind me once, but they get frustrated because that to them is a sign of disrespect apparently because it's saying, hey, you're not getting paid enough by your employer for doing your job.
Yeah.
And that's disrespectful. I thought that was interesting because in America, we have a completely different viewpoint on how all that's ran.
I just believe that the whole tipping thing here is a massive ruse. But it's industry wide where it's just like when I found out a friend of mine gets paid like minimum wage is like what? It's still shit at $8 or something.
Yeah, I don't remember. They just upped it.
My friend gets
Oh, for what?
like just for anything in general. Like in the state that she lives in, it's like the minimum wage is $8 or something.
Yeah, it's still crap in Florida.
when she worked in hospitality, they didn't pay her that. They paid her $250. It's her responsibility to make up that. And then if she doesn't, she pays the difference. It's like, hold the fuck on. You guys are literally breaking the law and it's somehow okay.
Well, it's not.
That's the thing that's wrong. It's like, and so it's pure commission and you're like, it's scamming the customers.
Right.
And like, the funny thing is, I don't eat out often because of that. Like, I'll eat at home, I'll do all that sort of stuff. If they got rid of tips, I don't think the restaurant, like, not if they got rid of it, but they got rid of the expectation.
Yeah.
I think that more, and they actually paid their staff happily, more people would eat out even more often. Well, because it's like, all right, I'm going to pay for my food, have a good time, and leave.
$40 is $40.
And I know that so-and-so who served me, he or she is getting paid correctly.
Right.
But because of that, you know, I go out with my family and it's like one meal now plus tax plus tips turns into $70-$80.
Yeah. Well, and
I'm not going out.
I've read it multiple places. If you can't afford to tip, then you can't afford to eat out.
Yeah.
And
right now I can't afford to tip.
Yeah.
You know? And
that's true. I guess.
And I make good money and I'm still just like, I can't justify it. So it's like, you know, there's all these people where, say a restaurant operates on 5 people.
Yeah.
And if there was less of this, not even tipping culture, it's required. Right. If it's shit service, you still have to tip because you still feel like a dick. And
but that's actually was what I was going to ask you. Like, I'm a habitual tipper. I will tip between 15 and 20% almost every time.
Yeah.
Now, there has been one time in particular where the lady really
see, I tip between 20 and 30 if I'm out.
15 and 20 was what I was always taught.
All right.
15 if they really
So I'm a selective
suck.
great guy and a selective piece of shit, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's fine.
And I guess
I'm okay
you
with
balance
that.
yourself out a little bit, but I was always taught.
I challenge
15,
one person to say they've tipped 70%.
I've tipped the bill before. Because I really liked this lady was like telling me, it was around Christmas time. And it was like a $40 bill. And this lady was telling me her life story. And maybe she was just like a really good scam artist. I don't know. But I literally tipped her the full bill because I wanted her to.
Good hack, by the way, to increase your tips right now. You know when you give the bill and there's like a little, you give the bill and there's like a chocolate or something or a mint they include. They did a study where if you go out, like say you went out and you left no mint, like the tip will be blank, whatever it is. And then you go out, you give them 1 mint, increase a little bit, you go out, you give them 2 mints, it goes up a little bit more. Yeah. You're better off going out and putting 1 mint on, go to walk away and go, oh, hold on, have a second and put it on. And now you've given this reciprocity because like, oh, she did that and she didn't have to or he didn't have to. Right. Even though it's your shtick and you do it every time, it plays in the reciprocity of humans and it will actually increase your tips higher because they're like, oh, she not only did she do great service, she also did this actually like something so small.
You put a little extra in.
So say that
I like when
idea.
they write thank you on it and put a little heart. It makes me feel loved.
Try that one because that one actually, tell me, just do an A/B split test.
And maybe you can answer this, but so you're saying that you tip between 20 and 30.
Yeah.
I was taught 15 to 20%. Maybe someone out there can help us. What is the industry standard these days? Because I was always taught growing up, it was between 15 and 20%. 15 if they really sucked. 20 was like, okay, you did great
Which
work.
is still hilarious. Shit service and I have to tip 15%. Like you mess up.
I can think of one time in my life that I didn't tip.
There's been times where I haven't because I'm just like, you got my order wrong. You got all the, like, it came back the second time wrong.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you got my wife's wrong. I'm just like, fuck this, dude. Like, you don't get a tip. Like,
I tip then. I'm a habitual tipper because
if I have
you
to
tried.
Work, if I go and eat out and I have to work for my meal, I'm getting paid, not you.
Yeah. See, and maybe I breached a very sensitive subject.
Anna's feeling really set. Like, she's like, I don't know if I like Blake anymore. Maybe I don't want to work for him.
And maybe the people who reached out to me are going to be like, wow, you did not go to bat for us very well. And it wasn't that I was interested in getting into this conversation because I know for me, for takeout, I would say I tip probably 15%. Not because they sucked, but because you're right. You're not filling my drinks. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. If you got me plastic silverware in there and my food is correct, like, to me, that's the bare minimum of takeout. You did it right.
Yeah.
15.
So I'm in the middle.
Yeah.
Right? Because I know both.
Right.
I mean, that's why I don't eat out. I don't like tipping because because it's very expensive.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, people
I do
in the
tip
service industry.
on takeout because they do a little bit of work.
Right.
And I know because I've done it before that it's not just like a bag. There's so much more to it that I'm not going to get into. But with the 15-20% at my job, they put on the bottom like suggested tip.
Yeah.
And it's the lowest is 18 and the highest you can get is 25. And
But see, a decade ago, the lowest was 15. The highest was the lowest was 12. The highest was 18.
Everything changed during COVID.
Yeah.
And so they have to, in a nice way, like kind of bump up the tip.
But see, isn't that weird though? The price of the food increased. Then they increased the percentage of the tip. It's like, okay, hold on. So your $10 meal before COVID, a good tip is, let's say 20%, so I don't have to think about it too hard.
Yep.
So $10 meal, a good tip before COVID, 20%. All right, so you get $12.
Right.
We're forgetting about tax here. It's very complicated in America. You guys don't do simple. And so then after COVID, it's like how everything went up. So we need you, like now your meal is $12, which used to be what you paid that plus tip.
Right.
Plus we need you to tip 30%. So actually now you have to tip, it's going to be $15.60. It makes no sense.
Well, I also am confused as to why, like I know when COVID occurred, the service industry took like a very big kick in the ass. That's what I was going to say.
A dick kick?
Yeah, there we go. A dick kick. I know that they took a massive dick kick because people weren't able to come eat in anymore. And that was a problem. Is that what caused? And I know food and inflation and
There's all that. But again, it's like
but delivery also increased. I mean, like delivery increased so much.
Yeah. Well, during COVID, that was because of supply and demand. And I mean, I'm sure Uber Eats knew that. They're like, we can just capitalize on this because you have no other option.
Uber Eats, I have a bone to pick with too.
Oh yeah, I got plenty with that. But the thing that is annoying, and it's like you do marketing and / business 101 at university, college, whatever you guys call it. It's all about supply and demand,
right?
And
always.
So the problem is, and cinemas did this with movies when the internet started coming out. When all of a sudden less people were watching the movies, they're like, well, we need to increase the prices to make money. Supply and demand says if there's less demand, lower the price to get more people in the door. And it feels like all these services, the restaurant industry, it's like, I get it, you got to put your, like, shit's going up. But there's a fine line, and I don't know what margins are. I don't know, like, what their margins are and how they have to do this stuff. But if having less people is your goal, that's great. But if you want more people, more of an atmosphere, more of a culture, more of a turnover, more money coming in, is there a certain way that you can think about it that will allow people to be more open to it? You know, it's the same thing of the boomers when they look at us and they're like, oh, they're lazy. It's like, well, same as oh, no one walks in our door, so we need to increase prices. All right, maybe add, and you don't have to increase prices, but don't increase prices and don't do anything else. Add an atmosphere, add something that adds a intangible value.
Yeah.
Because like Link, I love Link because it's great atmosphere. It's very unique. The service is great. There's a good vibe to it.
And there's a good variety of food.
Yeah.
Anyone can eat there.
Yeah. But there's so much more than just the food.
Right.
You know?
Well, I agree. I think supply and demand is a tried and true testament. Like it's obvious that yes, that's how it works. But I also don't think that in this day and age, supply and demand really works at all, because like people like you and me, we look at something, we can't afford that, so we don't do it. But I don't believe that the majority of people think like that anymore. They think, what's going to put me in the best environment to look cool, to impress, to do this and that. So these restaurants are able to keep increasing their prices and people still go and they pay it.
Yeah, but I think more could go.
I think more could go, but I don't think they're complaining because they've got plenty coming.
The other thing too is like, I mean, we say, all right, we can't afford it. It's not we can't afford it. We don't value it enough to justify the price.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But
like,
I don't feel like people think like that these days.
Everyone does subconsciously. Everyone does stuff on value. That's why like if someone's really into vanity metrics,
Right.
they like their goal is, I want a Chanel bag.
Right.
I want it because if I buy that Chanel bag, which is 5, 6, 10 grand, people will see me in a way.
Right.
And I've seen plenty of people with Chanel bags that I'm just like, how the fuck do you afford that? Because
Well-
they figure it out and they can justify the value from the outcome. And that's what I mean with like restaurants and stuff. It's like, okay. And like, I mean, there's
just
some great places here, but
disagree.
there's some terrible places here
Yeah.
where I'm just like, hold on. You want me to, like, I'm going to go to this place where it looks like you haven't updated it in 25 years and the meal's going to cost me and my wife $80.
Right.
I'm not walking in that door a second time. Versus like, how can we make something that, because you can have premium prices.
Right.
Like they exist. Like, I mean, shit, you go to New York
Yeah.
and it's like,
Alex and I
Bruh.
paid $40 for a breakfast the other day, and it was 2 crepes on a plate, completely empty, with a slice of lemon. Those 2 crepes, which mind you I make crepes at home.
crepes, so good.
Flour, eggs, milk, and water. Which I know those prices have gone up, but for us to each have 2 crepes, we paid $45.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And Alex and I
so
looked at
stupid.
each other and we were like, what? Because, when we're looking at the prices, we're like, oh, this must be like a good meal. And we judge where we go based off how big the servings are because Alex is he likes to eat. He enjoys food. That's like, if we're going to go out, we're going to be full when we leave and it's going to be fun. That's what we like to do. Those crepes came there. We were both starving. We paid $40
Yeah.
and we were
That
starving
doesn't
after
surprise
we
me.
ate. And then because we're habitual tippers, we still tipped the lady on top of the $40 because she did do well. She came and filled our
Yeah.
drinks. Like we weren't going to take her like she didn't set the prices.
Yeah.
She didn't come up with the portions. So we tipped her 20% on $40
What was
and
the
we were hungry.
What was the atmosphere in a place like this?
It was a nicer atmosphere.
You went, it wasn't nice.
It was a nicer atmosphere, and I think what got me is I know where the owners are from my hometown, and I saw that when I walked in, and I was like, oh wow, this is really cool. Like if this restaurant works out, then it's somewhere I'd want to come regularly because we came from the same place.
But that price is making you not go back again.
Correct. Well,
Yeah.
actually, I don't know if that's true though.
Oh, really? You just turned on me.
Well, I don't think that we'd go back for a special event. Like
Yeah.
if it were because we love crepes. So if it were my birthday or something, maybe we'd go back and just expect to be hungry when we left, which sucks.
Yeah, see, I can't do that. I want to be satiated, especially I'm paying $40. Like my in-laws are always like, "Oh, Blake and his $16
But it was a
steaks."
good
I'm just like, it's a
ambiance.
good steak.
It was a
But
really nice
from Publix.
ambiance. And that was what we were talking about earlier is that you pay for that experience sometimes.
Yeah.
You sit down, they've got
But that makes sense though if you have that value around that stuff.
and we traditionally don't.
I mean, it sounds like you're justifying it right now because you started off at a very different tone.
Well, it's not that I'm justifying it. I think the more that we've talked about it, I'm agreeing with you, but still disagreeing with you at the same time. I think that people these days are very comfortable living outside of their means. I think we're all guilty of it at times, some more than others, but some more than others. We try really hard not to live outside of our means. But I think the general society is very comfortable, very, very comfortable living outside their means.
Yeah.
And that's why
But
I
then-
don't think
so-
restaurants are feeling an effect, even though they've increased their prices.
vocalize it. No one wants to work these days. Everything's so
Yeah,
tough. We have to
because
increase
they
prices.
can't keep up with the amount of people that are coming in.
Well, we're also in a very. It'll be a different tune 6 months from now when it's not busy season.
Yeah, but I feel like it's not just
Although our busy
exclusive to
season's
Southwest
busy.
Florida.
Okay.
I feel like this is a countrywide thing. Whereas, but I agree, that's a very interesting point. We live in a very different type of economy system.
Well, look at us booking last Friday. It was a nightmare.
It was
Because we did
horrible.
last minute. We couldn't find anywhere until
In
like
the middle of season.
7:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like me coming from Washington, right? We don't have seasons there in our town where it's like very, like for us, Thanksgiving to Easter, you can't get a reservation anywhere.
Yeah.
And then after Easter to Thanksgiving, like over the summer, it's great. There's no
Yeah.
one here. You can walk in any restaurant. It's great. Where I came from, there was none of that.
Yeah.
And so moving to Florida, especially where we live in Southwest Florida, very different.
Yeah.
And you have to plan differently. And the economy runs differently because Florida itself, the state, runs off of tourism.
Yeah, they sell sunshine and bullets.
Exactly.
It's the only things.
Sunshine and bullets.
Yeah.
Oh,
But yeah, no, I mean, look, it's a hard job, and I'm not shitting on it. That's just to circle it back to the original point. I just have a hard time being like, I got to pay 4 times what. Like, again, that's why through that 2 hours of that lady serving us, it's like, all right, I'll tip her.
Right.
But I also know that, the owner, I'm not paying more than the owner.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not paying more than the guy that's making the money.
I guess I guess where I this is where I have the problem.
By the way, everyone's gonna hate seeing this when I'm dressed like this.
I know. Where I have the problem is you're
Can't wait for the
making a
comments.
stand against someone that's not affecting you, but it's affecting someone else. So you're saying I won't pay more than the owner, but it's not affecting the owner. It's affecting the person that shows up to work today to put your food in the bag.
I know that, but like
the owner doesn't give a shit. They go home to their house.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
fine.
But I think it's the same thing of like, when people are like, silence is violence.
Yeah.
Like if you don't, by you not having at least a little bit of a voice on something, on the real issue, and
Right.
I don't agree with silence and violence,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying as an example, it's like everyone does that rather than like if everyone else was like, do you know what, fuck it, and like everyone stopped doing that,
Yeah.
and then enough servers got tired of their owner fucking them over, and then they stopped working. Guess what? The restaurants are going to figure out ways in which to make it work, but we keep feeding the problem,
Yeah.
which is like, well, like it's not the server's fault, it's that guy's fault, but I'll help the server, which helps that guy, which I think's the bad guy.
I guess not
You know
to
what I
play
mean?
devil's advocate here, but like a lot of servers can't afford to stop working, even if that is what's happening. That's how they make their money. That's their livelihood. I think to me,
The whole thing's just fucked up.
it's very fucked up. And if a server were to hand you when you're sitting in your car and they give you your food, right? Or whatever, you walk in, if they were to hand you and you were to see the receipt and it says 18, 20, 15, whatever, what would be more of a stand in my head is if you were to ask the server, how much do you make hourly? And you tell them, make the math, and they're like, all right, can I talk to your owner? And then
I'd like
say
to
to
speak to the
them,
manager.
you're expecting me. It is written out on this receipt.
Yeah, but again, I can't
That would
fight
be-
every fight.
Right. But then why are we taking it out on the people who are showing up
Who
for
said I'm
work?
taking it out?
Well, because you're
Those tips add up, man.
It does.
adds up.
And you're not participating.
No,
Well, you're an asshole.
because that adds up in my wallet.
It adds up in my wallet too, but
Exactly.
that's part of the process.
Hey,
It's part of participating
I
in
just-
society.
is it though?
Yes.
Oh, I just want to eat at that place more often.
Okay, then don't eat there.
Yeah, Benita
Okay.
brunch. You won't see me anymore.
All right. Sorry, Benita Brunch. My
Yeah,
bad.
Blame her and her friends.
Come at me. No, that's not where I had the crepes.
ate. That's where I was like, look, I was in a rush.
You were in a rush. Yeah. I
Yeah.
picked the bone. We went there.
We went there,
We went there.
and I haven't made anyone listening any happier about me.
No, you have not. But you know what? We had the conversation. We understand. I understand more.
But here's the
your
thing,
point.
and this is where it works out. It's like it sounds like when I do tip, I tip twice what you tip.
Well, 30% isn't necessarily twice.
If you're tipping 15,
Okay, if I'm tipping, that happens so rarely though.
yeah, but I
You
I,
really have to piss me off. And frankly, I was gonna say something, but
you might put yourself under the bus.
no, I can think of one time. I think I mentioned this where I tipped. I think I tipped them 1 cent. The lady really pissed me off, and I
So you just wanted to
stole
make a real
all-
stand
I
rather than cross it
I
out?
took the plates off the table and the forks and knives, and I took them with me because I was so mad at that lady. Yeah. So I'm not going to disclose what restaurant because I don't want them coming at me. But I was so mad that day. I just remember this lady, and Hannah and I, it happens to Hannah and I all the time. We get the worst servers ever. I think Hannah was with me that day. We get the worst servers ever, and they hate us. And I don't know if it's because we look like assholes or what, but like I find myself to be a pretty pleasant person. I think Hannah is too. We come up, we're like, hey girl, what's up? Nice. No, this lady, like first off, she ignored us for 30 minutes. She did not come up to our table.
Oh, I would have left. I wouldn't have stayed.
Well, I can't remember what the circumstance was, but like we'd already put in a drink order and we couldn't even flag down her attention to get our check to pay for our drinks.
That's fair.
So we couldn't just get up and go.
Yeah.
We were like trapped. And then she ignored us for 30 minutes. And then she said something really bitchy. And I was like,
at least she got 1 cent.
So
She's lucky. I would have left.
Well, yeah. And because
Can you negative tip?
No, Alex and I were talking about it. Is it bitchier to tip 1 cent or nothing?
Definitely 1 cent.
And I was like, yeah. And then I took all of the place settings with me.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
All right, we'll end on that. Jordan is a shit tipper as well, guys.
Just one time, Blake is a constant shit tipper.
Who said I just put it in a video.
Except
do you know how many times I've actually done that?
What?
Maybe 3 to 5 times in my life. But
wait, I'm confused. What are we talking about?
where I've just gone boom and taken it into the car.
Oh, okay. Well, those I feel really bad for that.
It's always first watch. So it's first watch.
Well, first watch kind of overcharges for their food.
So now you're on my time. Now you're on my side. I've done it to first watch every single time because all I get is a breakfast burrito.
Pay for that.
Yeah. Okay. I paid $12 for a fucking breakfast burrito. Come on, guys. And
so
then paid tax.
15% of $12.
Yeah, it's 15% too much. I ate it in my car. Anyways, we've established that she's a shitter tipper than me.
I shitty tipped one time.
Hey, you did 1 cent, which was conniving and intentional.
It was definitely intentional.
Mine is just, I don't want to pay. Yours is like, you know what, bitch? Here you go.
Yeah, he's gaslighting me.
Here you go.
I was mad. I'll admit, I was mad, and the lady knew it. I did not hold back. I maybe went a little just to circle it all in for everybody. Karen. And I was pissed.
All right.
That's it?
Yeah, so I'm a better person than you. We've established it. All right, guys, make sure to
Best friends
subscribe.
forever.
Love you. Bye.
Subscribe.